Marcus Aurelius once said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Choosing to change life for the Stoics was a significant commitment, as they had in mind the power it had to inspire people like us to be better. This isn't an ordinary video like those on YouTube that just list things about the Stoics of the past. It's about how I used what I learned from them and took action to change my life in 3 simple steps in just 5 months. So if you think it's a magic formula, this video isn't for you. Today, I'm very happy with my life, but it didn't happen overnight. It was a simple process. I remember many times during this journey when I thought I wouldn't be able to change, moments when I wasn't happy with myself on reflection. I deeply regret not having applied the wisdom of the Stoics earlier. I saw a lot of what they said, but did little to act on it. I also made some mistakes that I would have liked to correct. The most important thing is that you won't change unless you really want to. If you think you need to change something in your life just because someone recommended it, you're already defeating yourself before you even start. It's crucial to combine a strong will to change with the right strategy. I can't give you the will, but I can share the strategy I learned from the Stoics. It's crucial to combine a strong will to change with the right strategy. I'm going to show you 3 Stoic principles that really transformed my life. It wasn't instantaneous, but over time these consistent principles benefited me day after day. After a few months, I realized that I was in a better place than 5 months ago. If you have a strong desire to change something specific in your life, I hope that some of the ideas I'm about to share can help you, just as they helped me. In each of the 3 steps, I'll use 3 points to explain my experience. The first will be the concept I used. The second will be the teaching of the Stoics and how it applied to my life. And the third will be my experience and how I put it into practice. First step, choose just one area to concentrate on. Concentrate every minute like a Roman, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice, and on freeing yourself from all other distractions. Marcus Aurelius. The Stoics were very careful about the things they chose to do. Marcus Aurelius used to say that the fewer things we have to do, the better, because we can focus all our energy on them. Sometimes our mind is tempted to think of many changes we want to make in different areas of our life, such as mental, physical, social, and other areas. The motivation to improve is great, but it's important to direct all this will towards a single transformation in your life. Then, when this change becomes a habit, you can think about new goals. However, it's a good idea to solidify the first one before starting others. The important question is, what to choose? I would suggest that you start by creating a clear list of the changes you want to make in various areas of your life. Be specific. Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? What is your financial goal? How do you want to develop your social life? What kind of mental health do you want to achieve? If you could summarize one of these goals in a daily habit that you could incorporate, what would that habit look like? For example, if you want to have an incredible physique with defined muscles and little body fat, the main focus would be on creating a consistent habit of going to the gym. So, the practical procedure would be to go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, or whatever frequency you consider appropriate. Once you have established the process to make this goal a reality, it is crucial to assess whether you are willing to follow this process on a daily basis. Does this seem realistic to you? Do you think you can stick to this routine? Remember that this process will be your daily action towards your goal. You won't be interacting directly with the goal. When you achieve it, your goal will evolve. The process itself is the experience you're going to have. It's not something you'll achieve and maintain. It's the journey itself that matters. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to start enjoying the journey. As the Stoics used to say, be present. In other words, they focused on what they had to do at that moment, not on the future. In this case, going to the gym instead of thinking about the body you want. This is possible because much of the joy comes from understanding that your life is moving in the direction you want it to. Part of the reason why going to the gym is so great is because you recognize that it's good for your health. By exercising, you're becoming a truer version of yourself. Go about your daily life being someone you're proud of. The gym is nice because of the hormones that are released and the feeling of strength that comes from lifting heavy weights. That's a bonus. Almost everyone who goes to the gym regularly does so, not just because of the end goal, but because they really like how they feel in the gym, both physically and mentally and emotionally. The activity is good for you. That's the great attraction of the gym. If you love books, and this is important to you, and you choose to focus solely on this goal, reading a book a month or more often could be the goal. Those who dedicate themselves to this task will realize that what motivates them is not just the false idea of getting smarter. They have learned to love reading for what it represents. The path to the final goal has become an enjoyable experience. So define clearly what you want to change in your life. How does this manifest itself in a specific way for you? Then understand how this element is reflected in your daily life. Assess whether you are willing to embrace this process every day, because the process is the most important part. Like the Stoics, follow the path, not just the destination. If you don't find pleasure and satisfaction in the daily journey towards your life goals, you'll probably not only abandon the transformation, but also have a less rewarding life. If everything you do on a daily basis serves only as a means to an end, your life will consist only of means to ends. I'll tell you what I was looking for over the last 5 months. I wanted to become a better copywriter. I've been writing for almost 10 years, and I wanted to be promoted. However, I realized that I wasn't succeeding because when I analyzed the situation, I saw that I still needed to improve my skills. So I decided to focus on that, to make writing my only goal. Basically, my ultimate goal was promotion, but I knew I needed to focus on the writing process to get there. In those 5 months, I clearly defined that this would be my next step without worrying about anything else. It was hard to choose, as I also wanted to learn the guitar and improve my photography skills, but I had to prioritize just one thing, and that's what I did. So the 2 main points for me were knowing exactly what I wanted and enjoying the process. Step 2. Forcing yourself to do it is a good thing. It is that of a wise man to resist pleasures, but a foolish man to be slave of them. Epictetus. There may be that option that always comes up. What about this idea of working too much? What about the risk of becoming exhausted? Wouldn't you be indulging in a harmful quest for self-improvement? Stoics value discipline and the completion of tasks. Ryan Holiday, one of the most prominent modern Stoics, shares the phrase, "Are you doing your job?" He explains that this is in line with Marcus Aurelius's idea of always fulfilling what we commit to do. In other words, keeping our word. As for being harmful, I think that's nonsense to a certain extent. Almost everything worthwhile in life requires some kind of sacrifice. Often, you won't want to do what you had planned. You may not feel like going to the gym, reading books, or fulfilling your responsibilities, even if these actions bring positive changes to your life. Jocko Willink, a former Navy SEAL who follows Stoic principles, always says, discipline equals freedom. So we shouldn't judge the value of something in our life before we do it. Never. This is true with a few exceptions, of course. You shouldn't try drugs and then decide whether they were beneficial. You should use common sense. However, we're talking here about making changes that you've already determined are beneficial to you, and that will take you in the desired direction in your life, making you a person to be proud of. Often, even if you know that these changes are positive, you will face emotional and physical resistance before making them. Your justifications may try to stop you from moving forward, saying that you're exhausted and need a break. But in these specific cases, when you act anyway, you'll realize that these justifications were false almost 100% of the time. As Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Imagine you're very tired and have lots of things to do, and a voice in your head says, "You're tired. Take a break. Don't put on your sneakers and go for a run." However, you keep going. Put on your clothes, put on your sneakers and go for a run. Most of the time you'll realize, I'm so glad I didn't listen to those excuses. I feel refreshed and proud that I didn't give up. When it comes to tiredness, fatigue or sadness, it's much more challenging for your will and existence to slowly build up anxiety by standing still and letting opportunities slip away. Use your common sense. I'm not suggesting that you punish yourself or push your limits to the point of injury. Of course, it's possible to overdo it, but it's healthy to challenge yourself in order to overcome the resistance and excuses that prevent you from doing something you know is good for you. Be disciplined and committed to the change you want, because if you don't, you're not really determined, and that won't improve your situation. When you notice this resistance, your mind is trying to sabotage you so that you remain the person you are and not who you want to be. When I decided to do this, for the first few days I would get home, eat something, rest for a few minutes, and then go to my office to write. In the second week, I began to feel a great resistance to continue writing every day after work. That's when I realized I needed to take action. And at that moment, Marcus Aurelius again inspired me with his discipline, saying, "Accept voluntary challenges. We must discipline ourselves in the little things and from there progress to things of greater value." So what I did was simple. Whenever I didn't want to go to the office to write, I did just one small thing. Instead of thinking I had to go to the office and write for an hour, I would just get up from the sofa. Then I'd go to the office. Then I would sit down in the chair, and I'd start writing just one paragraph. And so it went. I started with the small things, as Marcus Aurelius advised, and moved on to the bigger ones. So after completing my daily hour of writing, I felt much better, because the feeling of knowing that I've done something even though I didn't want to is invigorating. Step 3. Make the processes more enjoyable. Just that you do the right thing, the rest doesn't matter. Marcus Aurelius. Keep that phrase with you, and I'll soon explain why it's so powerful. There are ways to make the things we do more fun, and some of the techniques I'm about to show you can help with this. It's important to remember that you're doing these things for your own good. Don't feel bad if you're acting negatively, and don't force yourself to take part in activities that you think are terrible. There are ways to make these activities more enjoyable while you're doing them. For example, if reading books seems like a chore, you might want to try audiobooks. I've talked about the idea of Stoic routines in other videos of mine. It can be as simple as getting into the habit of stretching every morning. Set yourself a rule. You can only take your first sip of coffee after you've done some stretching. Don't hesitate to adapt the way you do it to make it more enjoyable. When the process itself becomes something you want to do, maintaining the change in the long term becomes easier. In my case, making writing more fun for me includes putting it to music. Sometimes I face two challenges: creative block and boredom. To overcome this, I put on songs without lyrics, which helped me find inspiration and dispelled boredom while writing. The type of music also influenced my mood. If I wanted to write something motivational, I would choose cinematic or inspirational music. If I wanted to deal with something sad or dramatic, I chose more melancholic music. This worked very well for me. Remember that Marcus Aurelius quote I mentioned, "Just do the right thing, the rest doesn't matter." This meant that no matter whether I wrote in silence or with music, what mattered was that I was fulfilling what I'd committed to doing. Here's a little motivational bonus for you who've come this far. Something simple that I started doing, and that has helped me a lot on difficult days, is the little reward. On challenging days after writing, I would allow myself to eat a chocolate. It gave me a positive feeling of accomplishment. But remember, only do this on the hardest days, so that it doesn't become a habit and lose the same effect when the hard days come. So, the most important point is that in order to make important changes in your life in 5 months, focus on one habit at a time. Understand why you want to adopt this habit and what the ultimate goal of this change is. Then think of ways to make this habit as enjoyable as possible. Once you've tested these adaptations, go ahead, even if you think of excuses not to do them. See if the action was good after you've done it, not before. You can continue using this strategy month by month. If you manage to establish a habit one month, you can add a new one the next. So at the end of 5 months, you will have incorporated 5 new habits, which may seem like a lot, but I focused on just one, and that's what I recommend. However, over that time, you can get very far. In the next 5 months, you could be in a better position if you follow this strategy, along with your motivation and willingness to change. So, to conclude my experiment following Stoic principles, I got the promotion in the 4th month by writing every day, which made me very happy. And remember at the beginning when I was undecided about what to focus on? Well, in the last 5 days, I've started learning to play the guitar, and it's been a lot of fun. And you, what's your goal for the next 5 months? Share it below. I'd love to hear about your goals. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. If you've enjoyed sharing my experience here, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe to my channel so that I can share more with you. I wish you success on this journey and that your life changes for the better.